So hello guys, and welcome to my YouTube channel. So in today's tutorial I'm going to teach you about the things you need to know before learning Django. So let's get started. So I've created a cheat sheet or a guide to learning Django. So these are the essential in learning Django. So these are the things you need to know before you start learning Django. So the first and very important part is Python. So in Python you don't need to learn everything, like including the deeper parts of Python, but it is good to learn it that way. But most of the things are not needed in not most, some of the things are not needed when learning Django. So you don't need that deep Python to understand Django. But I want to mention something in Python. The important things you need to know is lists, dictionaries, object-oriented OOP, mainly inheritance, because we will be inheriting most classes from Django. You also need to understand variables. What else? Functions, because the views are written in function. What else do you need to know? Let me see. Okay, those are the most important things that you need to learn in Python to understand Django. I would recommend the book Python Crash Course by Eric Maths. That book is very important when learning Django as a beginner, so you'll find it. The second thing you need to learn to understand Django is web development basics. This is mainly important if you want to become a full stack developer, because this is where you'll now be linking your backend to the front end. So you need the knowledge of HTML, CSS, and some JavaScript to be good at Django. Otherwise you'll be creating websites but you can't see the outcome. So it's good to understand the web development basics, and for this I would recommend you learn from W3 Schools website. Let me show you the website. W3 Schools here. So you come to tutorial HTML. You can learn all these topics in HTML, then CSS, then JS. You'll need that knowledge. You don't need that deep of knowledge, especially JavaScript, because JavaScript will only be helping you in things like making the website interactive, creating a responsive navbar and such like things, but not very necessary. But HTML and CSS will be important. Okay, the next thing you need to know is you need to familiarize with the Django project structure so that we'll not be messing up things in future. So this is how a good looking Django project structure should look like this. You have the, let me draw for you using draw here. So new entity relation diagram, maybe Django project structure. Okay, create. Let me save it in my GitHub folder. ERD, I have a folder called ERDs where I always save my diagrams. Okay, so let me walk you through the Django project structure. Oh, I didn't want to draw this. So first, let me draw the project structure for you. So we have, so in Django, everything is like an app, but all apps are connected to the project app. So let's say you have your project. Okay. Let me do this. So no, I want something like this one. So that way, then that one. So then let's say this is a blog project. So let me name it blog. So to create a blog app in Django, you first need your first app is like the project app. Let's call it blog. Okay, then we'll have every functionality will be implementing using an app. So let's say this app is for managing users. For example, e.g. login, sign up and sign out. Then we can have another app. So this app is called users. Then you can have another app for articles. So this will be managing the articles, and you can have another app for for something like what? Let's say payments. Let's say people are paid to publish articles in this application. So these things are interconnected. So these things are interconnected, but this is the main project. Then we have apps connected to this project. Let's make it like this. Okay, this one. Okay, this. No. None. Let's do like this. So that you can easily understand. Okay, so we have the main app or the project. We have the project, then we have all these other apps. These other apps, for them to work, we have to connect them to the blog, which is the main app or the project. So let me show you in my learning logs project. So in my learning logs project, I have this app called learning log, which is the main project. Then I have this learning logs, which is an application that manages the log entries that are being published by students. This is a system for tracking learning. Then we have the users app. So this main app, let me open it. We have a settings app, settings file, which is used to interconnect it with the other applications. So as you can see here, we have learning logs, users. These are apps that have been connected to this learning log app. So as you can see, I've connected. This is the main. For instance, these other apps cannot work if they have not been configured in the settings.py. They must be added here for them to work. Okay, let's move to the next thing. We've just understood the project structure. Also, before I move to the next thing, we have the the manage.py file, which is our entry file. To run our project locally, we have to use this app, manage.py. Then we have the db.sqli3, which is a database. This one is GitHub. You don't need to know it at this moment. Okay, I hope you've understood this. It's important to understand this. So the next thing we're going to do is the next important thing to learn before you get started with Django is to understand the Django ORM, object relational mapping. This is mainly involved with the databases. So in Django, you don't code SQL commands directly. You write them in terms of classes. Then the classes will be translated by Django to tables in SQL in the database. So let's say, for example, let me use online Python compiler. So for example, let's say you write a class article it will inherit from models dot model. This one should be small letters. You will understand about the terms in bracket later. You'll be learning. So the title of the article, let's say, is models dot chair field max length is equal to 200, and body is equal to models dot field. So this can be translated to, in the database, can be written as select, no, not select, create table article title voucher 200, body voucher 300. Let's say this one had a max length of 300. Okay, this in Django will translate to this in SQL. So let me put here Django, then here SQL. Okay, so this one is written in the models.py file. So let's say in the learning logs we have a file called models.py where those things are written. So as you can see, class topic will translate to a table called topic in the database. So create table topic text equal to voucher max voucher 200 blah blah blah. Okay, what else? So that is about object. Also in object relational mapping you need to understand some things like querying. So for example, we want to be writing select all from article in Django. Instead we'll be writing article dot objects dot all. So you need to understand the ORM language. So there is a language for that which you need to understand. So you need to understand in this section the object relational mapping language. Okay, and I guess that's it in Django, essentials in learning Django. So let's move to the next step. So I want to show you how Django works behind the scenes. So I've created here a certain diagram for you to understand how Django works. So so when you search, so let's say a user searches in the browser. Let me see. So I have a website called SocialBay. Posted it in Python anywhere. So this is the project. So let's say someone searches, for example, listing. No, let me use Let me use what? Logout. Let me see, logout. Let me use logout. So, as you can see, logout is, no, let's not use that. Let me use cell. So, let me log in. So let's say cell. Let's use cell. As you can see here, it is searching for the word, the URL create. So what happens when you type URL in the search bar? So it doesn't have necessarily to be searching. It can be maybe a button you click, then that button is linked to a URL in the website. So when you search this URL, basically what will happen, Django will take you to the URLs page. So let's see that website. The code for that website is here. Let me see. Let me show you. So here. So we've searched for create, and like I've told you, when you search something, it will be taken to the Django URLs. So we have the urls.py page in the listing application, so it will be taken to the urls.py. so the urls.py, then it will find the URL with the name, the URL create. So when it finds that URL, it will take you to the views, the view related to that URL, which is listing create. So this URL redirects you to the views, and the view we are using in this section is listing create. So let's go to the views. So views, so you'll find listing create. This is the view that is related to that URL. So this is what happens in the view. Every operation that is required happens in the view. So in this case, a form is loaded, and all these operations done. Then after that is done, you are taken to the templates. It renders the result to a template, and anything that will be required is passed as a list. So we've passed it in a context dictionary, then not a list, sorry, it's a dictionary. So we've used a variable context and passed the data. Then we've passed here the data as context variable. So what happened, we searched what? Create. We were taken to the URL for create, then the URL took us to the views for listing create, then the views rendered the result to a template, then a response will be shown in the browser. So basically that's what happens when you create a website in Django. Thank you for watching, and I'll be waiting for you next time. I hope you understood. Thank you.